She just walked away from a stage production alongside her own Wicked co-star. No scandal, no fight, no leaked drama, just gone. And the reason her team gave wasn't about scheduling or creative differences. It was about survival. Ariana Grande was set to star in Sunday in the Park with George alongside Jonathan Bailey, a production slated for 2027. That's not a small commitment to walk back from. And it's not the only thing she's pulling out of. Her team confirmed she's stepping back from public-facing work entirely once her Eternal Sunshine tour wraps. The wording they chose matters. They said she's ending the tour healthfully and happily, then taking a break from the endless ongoing public scrutiny that's followed her. That's a carefully chosen phrase, and it tells you this wasn't a spontaneous decision. It was the end result of something that had been building for a long time. But scrutiny doesn't come out of nowhere. Before the announcement ever dropped, something quieter was already happening in the background. Months before any of this became public conversation, a photo of Ariana got flagged, not by a person, but by YouTube itself. The image was tagged as self-harm content and slapped with an 18+ restriction, even though the video it appeared in had nothing to do with her body. Just the photo alone was enough to trip the system. Then, just this week, a community note appeared on one of her own Instagram posts, pointing people toward eating disorder support hotlines. It didn't stay up long. It was quietly removed. But for a moment, it existed, a platform, not a person, publicly signaling that something about the image being shown wasn't safe for the people viewing it. That's a strange kind of evidence. Not a headline, not a tweet, just a piece of moderation infrastructure quietly agreeing with what millions of people were already saying out loud. And here's the thing. This isn't the first time she's had to respond to exactly this kind of moment. Ariana has been having some version of this conversation publicly since at least 2023. Back then, she sat down and said something that's aged strangely well given what's happening now. She explained that the body people held up as her healthy version was actually her lowest point.
But I just also wanted to say, one, there are many different kinds of beautiful. There are many different ways to look healthy and beautiful. I know personally for me, the body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body. I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly and at the lowest point of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy, but that in fact wasn't my healthy. And I know I shouldn't have to explain that, but I do feel like maybe having an openness and some sort of vulnerability here will be something good might come from it. I don't know, but that's the first thing. Healthy can look different. The second thing is you never know what someone is going through. So even if you are coming from a loving place and a caring place, that person probably is working on it or has a support system that they are working on it with, and you never know. So be gentle with each other and with yourselves. And thirdly, the third one's unrelated, I guess. I just wanted to extend some love your way and tell you that you're beautiful, no matter what phase you're in. By the way, I'm not wearing eyelashes or eyeliner right now. This is my face, these are my eyes, so don't freak out about that now too, please. Oh my God. But yeah, sending you guys a lot of love. And I think you're beautiful, no matter what you're going through, no matter what weight, no matter how you like to do your makeup these days, no matter what cosmetic procedures you've had or not, or anything. Yeah, I just think you're beautiful.
She was on medication, drinking through it, eating poorly, and that period got mistaken for wellness because it looked a certain way. She said healthy can look different than people expect, and that nobody watching from the outside actually knows what someone is working through. That statement is nearly 3 years old, which means this isn't a new controversy. It's the same conversation, resurfacing, louder, with higher stakes. And this time, it didn't stay between her and her fans. Someone else stepped directly into the middle of it. Actress Jameela Jamil didn't just comment, she doubled down. She said the outfits in question were designed to accentuate the thinness for discourse and called Ariana's team thoroughly irresponsible for not steering her away from what she described as damaging imagery for young fans. Then she went further, laying out what she called a trolley problem. Comment on the body and you risk harming her mental health. Say nothing and you risk normalizing that image for the hundreds of millions of teenage girls watching. She pointed out that Ariana has access to elite mental health care most fans could never dream of, and that the fans don't have that same safety net. Jamil, who's spoken openly about her own decade of ED recovery, said pro-eating disorder websites were already circulating the imagery, with teenagers commenting goals underneath it. That's not a take, that's a warning shot. And it forced a question nobody in this conversation has actually answered. Who is allowed to say something, and when does saying something become the harm itself? You can watch that exact paradox play out in real time in the replies. One comment reads, "It's totally okay for people to notice something and express concern. That's actually a good thing." Right underneath it, another says, "None of us know what someone is going through, and it's not our place to speculate." Someone else pushes back harder. "People are legitimately concerned. People conflating concern with hate? It's pathetic." And someone else answers that with, "Not every comment is a critique." These aren't trolls fighting with fans. These are people who all claim to care about her, arriving at completely opposite conclusions about what caring is even supposed to look like. Nobody in that comment section is wrong on purpose. That's what makes it impossible to resolve. And that impossibility is exactly why the professional cost here is so significant. This isn't someone skipping a red carpet. This is an artist walking away from a Broadway-level stage commitment, alongside a co-star she has real chemistry with, in a production years in the making. Plus, stepping back from public appearances entirely, at the peak of a tour she's called one of the most meaningful experiences of her career. She said it herself, she loves this tour, she loves her fans, she's loved every minute of it. Walking away from visibility isn't a punishment for anyone else. It's the only lever she has left to pull. And that's the part that should actually sit with you. This isn't really a story about whether Ariana looks a certain way. It's a story about what happens when an entire audience wants to protect someone and has no shared idea of how to actually do that. So some comment, some report, some go quiet, and the person at the center ends up needing to disappear just to get any relief from all of it. Jamil called it a trolley problem for a reason. There's no version of this where everyone agrees you did the right thing. So here's the real question worth sitting with. When concern and cruelty start looking identical from the outside, who gets to decide which one they're seeing? Drop your take below. I actually want to know where you land on this one.